Martin Luther King, also called Martin Luther King Jr., was born named Michael Luther King, but had his name changed later. He was born 5th January 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, in USA. He was priest and civil rights activist from USA. In the 1950s and 1960s, he led a non-violent struggle for the black population's gender equality in American society. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964.
Martin Luther King was a very talented man. He was a good speaker and he faced every challenge he met. When he was younger, he skipped 2 grades and graduated from high school when he was 15 years old.
Martin was married with Coretta Scott King from 1953 till 1968. They got 5 children together, named Yolanda King, Martin Luther King III, Dexter Scott King, and Bernice King. He grew up with his father Martin Luther King Sr., mother Alberta Williams King, and siblings Christine King Ferris and Alfred Daniel Williams King.
One of his first tasks was to fight for the colored people. It started in March 1955 when Claudette Colvin didn't want to give her seat to a white man. And the same thing happened to Rosa Parks, 1st December 1955. King decided to start the bus boycott, and it lasted in 382 days. While all this was going on, King got arrested.
Martin was the leader for SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The organization was created by Martin Luther King Jr., Ralph Abernathy, and 60 other ministers in January 1957. The organization was created for civil rights for everyone. They could help conduct non-violent protests to promote civil rights reform. They thought the best place to start were to give African Americans a voice to vote.
King's big inspiration was Mahatma Gandhi. He inspired him about nonviolence for every single people. He went to India where Gandhi was buried. On his way to India, he understood more what nonviolence really was about. He wanted everyone to get treated the same way, so he fought for the civil rights for the colored people. Bayard Rustin knew a lot of Gandhi's words about nonviolence. He said to King that he should immerse himself into the words. Rustin was King's right hand in the beginning, but many white and black leaders did not like him. They did not like him because he was gay, so they said to Martin that he had to get more distance from Rustin. Martin was the leader for SCLC, but in the past he never supported one of the organizations or candidates. He said none of the organizations was perfect. Both of them missed something. All thought he didn't support one of them, but he still chose the Democrats. 14th of October 1964, Martin got the Nobel Prize in Oslo. They called him while he was sick and laid in bed. He went to Oslo to get the prize. When he was there, he visited the Baptist church. In the church, he had a speech and he sang with all the people there.
I Have a Dream is a speech delivered by Martin Luther King during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963, in which he calls on an end to racism in the United States and called for civil and economic rights. Delivered to over 250,000 civil rights supporters from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The speech was a defining moment for the civil rights movement. King was murdered April 4, 1968, when he stayed in Memphis, Tennessee to support a strike among black refugees. James Earl Ray was sentenced for the murder, but in the 1990s there was information that others can stand behind the murder. After King's death, the management of SCLC was taken over by his friend and co-worker Ralph Abernathy. Also, his widow Coretta Scott King continued his work from 1927 to 2006.